So given this TikTok aspect of the discourse surrounding the show, my big question with this season is, did TikTok make or break Euphoria? Obviously, Euphoria is one of, if not the biggest shows of the year, literally the second biggest show on HBO ever, which is saying something because HBO doesn't really miss. So naturally, being as big as it is in this day and age, it has had enormous amounts of online discourse. But the majority of the discourse has been really, really critical of the show. So, does high levels of critical internet discourse create a negative impact on the show, despite leading to higher viewership and engagement?
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent question. My answer would be, and it's probably a very safe answer, but I think it really just depends on the show and what the initial goals of the show were. Because I
Yeah.
think, like, when you think of reality TV, like, I think they really lean into the controversy. Like, anything that's going to get them written about, they will make sure is in the narrative of the show, even though they have like thousands of other shots, thousands of other storylines they could use. They're really trying to like push the button, get people talking about it. For example, Love is Blind season 2 just dropped on Netflix. I watched Love is Blind. The reunion episode just aired, and it was just, there was a lot. There were so many different conversation starters. Like, every single couple had their own conversation starter. A lot of negative things to say about certain characters, about certain depictions, even about like the editing of the show itself. I've seen criticism of the hosts as well, but it's like a lot of people are still tuning into that content because they want to know the tea. Like, I am definitely one of those people who, I'll see like a hot take about a show, or I'll see a meme about it that I can't understand, but a lot of people seem to be enjoying, and then I just want to jump on that train, even if it's like a meme that's like, this is the worst show ever, and I'm like, is it really? Like, maybe I need to watch it now. I don't know. So it just really depends. And I think something else to think about too is, if there's a lot of critical discourse about a given show, I think that's okay. Like, a show like Game of Thrones had a lot of critical discourse, especially within the last seasons talking about it. But I don't really think it breeded animosity within the fan base, or like a very negative fan base. But then there are some fan bases where there is a lot of dialogue about the show. Rick and Morty, for example, but like that fan base is notoriously toxic. So I think there's a lot of different considerations you have to make before answering this question. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I would say probably the old adage that is like, no press is bad press.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could definitely see that working here, especially with social media apps. And also, hate watching is a thing. I don't really know when that evolved. Like, I tried to explain the concept to my mom, and she's like, why would you watch something that's bad? And I'm just like, or something that you have a lot of opinions on, like negative opinions, and I didn't really have an answer for her, I'm being honest.
But like with this and TikTok, I feel like people were excited for season 2 when it came out. Personally, I was not. I did not love season 1. I watched it back in the day. It feels like a century ago when it first came out. This show has always been popular, even since season 1, and has always generated a lot of discourse online. I think the big change between season 1 and season 2 is that TikTok has really blown up a lot more. Like, TikTok was around, I guess, when season 1 came out, but like not as widely used, I think, as it is right now. I think that there's a lot of overlap between the people who like to use TikTok a lot and the people who watch Euphoria. So I think naturally that was going to be a place where a lot of discourse was going to occur. You could immediately watch an episode and turn your camera on and just record your thoughts, like, and share them on TikTok, where they're probably going to be seen by other people who also want to like talk about Euphoria. It's like something we've never really had before for a show. Twitter has always existed, I guess, but like it's a lot harder, I think, to get like a tweet to blow up than a TikTok. Like, I feel like TikTok, if you just have the right hashtags and use the right sound, like you'll kind of get somewhere. So that's one thing. And I feel like as the show progressed, just more and more people were making TikToks about it. People who weren't watching it were like, I gotta hop on this, because FOMO, like legit, people just
Yeah.
did not want to be left out of this cultural discussion, because honestly, like, I feel like everyone was talking about Euphoria, and everyone was talking about it week to week, like, which is something that we
Yep.
haven't really seen in a long time. So if you were not watching, odds are you're gonna get spoiled. But you also just want to understand like what the memes are, basically, because like if you're not watching the show, you have no context to Faye and her lips. Like, you know what I mean?
Which is such a hilarious meme that has is actually just
Yeah.
spawned from this.
I know the actor who plays Faye is like kind of like, why is everyone talking about my lips? But come on.
I'm like, you know why, girl.
Yeah.
Don't act coy.
But yeah, like those are some of the funnier things that have come out of the show, the memes. But yeah, I think really people just didn't want to feel left out. And I think even the memes are negative in a way because they're just like making fun of the show and all the like absurd things that the show does.
Isn't that how teens, or I feel like I'm just talking about teens like I wasn't a teen, but isn't that how people show like their love nowadays? Just like memes, just roasting the crap out of something. And then you're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to this question of did TikTok make or break the show? And I would say I kind of feel like it's both because if your goal in making a show is to get people to watch and get people to talk, Euphoria has achieved those goals. Not very well received critically, but well received. Zendaya has already won an Emmy. People are really, really pushing her for Emmy #2 for this season, which I think is even more likely given her performance this season. So in that sense, you know, it's getting tons of views. It's getting critical acclaim. It's getting accolades. It's getting discourse. It's checking all these boxes. But the majority of people watching the show are, I would argue, not enjoying it. Everyone I know is watching Euphoria, basically. And when I ask them like if they're enjoying the show, I feel like the answer has been like no, like not really. And that's the answer I would give myself too. Like to be honest, like I actually was watching one of the episodes, I think it was the 6th episode live because it was after the Rue episode and it was I needed to know what happened. Like so I watched it live on HBO when it premiered, which I don't normally do. I wait until the day after and watch it on HBO Max. So I had to go downstairs and my mom and my grandma were like watching something. So I had to be like, hey, like I gotta watch the thing. And they were like, oh, like, can we watch it with you? Or like what do we I was like, you should probably leave. I don't think you'll like this show.
I mean, I don't know if it has like multiple generational appeal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it's just there are shows that have a lot of sex and you know violence that I would watch with my mom and my grandma, but this is not one of them. And
yeah.
I'm just like, I know you will not like this and you will be not happy sitting in here watching this. So I was like telling them like blah 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 this and that about Euphoria. And I think my grandmother asked me like, do you actually like this show? And I was like, you know what, I don't really like this show. I am just watching it because I kind of have to, which is
Yeah.
fine. Like I don't mind that. We have this podcast, we talk about media, so I don't mind watching things that are, you know, not personally satisfying to me, but are worth talking about because they're
Yeah.
in the cultural zeitgeist and they're affecting a lot of people. So that's kind of how I thought of it. I just like I'm watching the show because I kind of have to. The show is just so exhausting to watch. Like it's a hard show to watch. I every time I get out, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Something that really sticks out to me about Euphoria is normally I can understand the buildup of a show between episodes and like where the climax will be, where like I expect certain plot lines to be resolved and things like that. But Euphoria is kind of hard to predict. And I think sometimes that can work really well. Like the Rue episode, I didn't really think that we were just going to get an entire episode of Zendaya running. I didn't know that that's what I needed.
And it ended up being the best episode in the whole series.
It was incredible. And
Yeah.
being honest, like the first play episode, I thought was incredible. I personally thought the play would only be one episode. I think it should have remained in one episode, but you know, Ethan's iconic dance number, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So many things that I could point out just in that episode. And I was like, this feels like a pre-season finale episode for the season finale to ultimately just feel so underwhelming to me. And that's a pacing issue because there's a lot of compelling storylines, but it's like, why would you choose to end it here? I think the actor who plays Ashtray said actually they changed the script the day before they shot because Fez was supposed to, spoiler alert, even though this whole thing,
Yeah.
Fez was supposed to be the one to die as opposed to Ashtray, and they changed it the day before. I'm like, so was there any foresight going
Yeah.
into this season, or was it just afterthought?
Yeah, I feel like that is it's a clear indication of like the fact that Sam Levinson needs more writers on this show. if not for just like the plot lines, but for the characters. Like there's just so many reasons why having multiple writers on a show is good for a show that's this sprawling.
Absolutely.
So, like, despite the fact that a lot of people were negatively engaging with the show online, or critically engaging with the show, rather, the show has been picked up for a third season. So, I think we'll have to wait and see how the story progresses, because I would say TikTok broke it in a sense that it's not like this show that everyone's like, whoa, Euphoria is amazing. I love Euphoria. I love it. And getting all these great, reviews and all this stuff. It's a lot of people being like, I don't like this show. I don't like the creator, but I watch it every week.
I mean, all of a sudden, everyone's really become a media critic too. And like some perspectives are great and some are so surface level. I'm just like, wow, really? Like they'll be like, Nate is abusive. I'm like, what? Oh my God, that's crazy.
So, I mean, I guess we'll see what happens in season 3 to see if any of these issues that have now been brought up on TikTok get resolved.
Thanks for watching. This video is a highlight from our podcast, so be sure to check out the full discussion here on YouTube or on Spotify. If you enjoyed listening to our conversation, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let us know what you think in the comments. It really helps out the channel and we appreciate the support. See you next time.